You lean back from the fire, but the smoke follows you. It is 50,000 years ago. The sun is long gone, and there is no sound but the wind and the soft collapse of embers. Move where you like. The smoke finds your face anyway, and you breathe it because there is no other air to breathe. And then, on some night no one will ever be able to name, one of the people around that fire breathes it in on purpose. That is where this begins. Not with tobacco, not with cigarettes or trade routes or any ritual you could read about in a book. It begins with a single human being who noticed that the smoke changed something inside them and chose to feel it again. This is the story of what may be the oldest habit our species has, and the unsettling truth is that it may be almost as old as we are. Before anyone could breathe smoke on purpose, there had to be fire, and fire has belonged to us for an almost unthinkable length of time. In a cave called Wonderwerk in South Africa, archaeologists found ash and burnt bone left by a fire that was tended deliberately, roughly 1,000,000 years ago. 1,000,000 years. We were not even our own species yet. Those were Homo erectus, an older kind of human, smaller-brained, heavier-browed, sitting in the dark exactly as we still do. And every one of them breathed smoke. Every night, for hundreds of thousands of years, every human and almost human who leaned toward a fire pulled smoke into their lungs. It was not a choice. It was simply the air they were given. So the question was never whether ancient humans breathed smoke. They all did, every night of their lives. The question is when one of them first chose it, because not all smoke is only smoke. When a plant burns, it does not surrender only heat. Some plants release compounds that slip into the body and reach the mind. And the human brain, it turns out, was already listening. We carry receptors built to answer chemicals like these, part of a quiet inner system that governs mood and memory and pain. They did not evolve for smoke. But the night the first person breathed in the smoke of the right burning plant, their brain did not recoil. It recognized something, and it wanted it again. Sit with that for a moment. The entire weight of human smoking, every ritual, every shrine, every fire ever lit for comfort, may begin with one tired person sitting downwind of the wrong plant, feeling, for no reason they understood, briefly at peace. We cannot point to that first night, but we can follow the trail it left behind. High in the Pamir Mountains of Central Asia, in graves dug around 500 years before Christ, archaeologists lifted out wooden braziers filled with scorched stones, and the residue of cannabis far stronger than anything that grew wild nearby. This was not rope or seed or accident. It was placed with the dead on purpose to be burned for them. A century before those graves, the Greek historian Herodotus described a people called the Scythians, sealing themselves inside small tents, throwing hemp onto glowing stones and, in his words, howling with joy inside the smoke. For centuries, we assumed he had exaggerated. Then we opened Scythian tombs and found the tents, the braziers, the hemp, exactly as he had written them. He had not been exaggerating. If anything, he had been gentle. And tobacco, the smoke most of us picture, is younger and stranger still. It grows only in the Americas. When Columbus reached the Caribbean in 1492, he wrote, baffled, of people carrying small glowing rolls of leaves and breathing the smoke back out through their noses. But they had been doing it for thousands of years before any European stood there to watch. Pipes pulled from the soil of the American Southeast still hold the chemical ghost of tobacco burned 3,500 years ago, and they did not do it idly. The smoke was sacred, carried into healing, into mourning, into the thin space between the living and whatever they believed was waiting. Every one of these trails runs backward toward the same vanished night, the first time a human breathed smoke and meant to. And here is what almost none of us are ever told. For most of human history, breathing smoke was not an escape from other people. It was how people reached each other. When a circle of humans sat together in the dark and breathed the same smoke and drifted together into the same altered quiet, Something passed between them that an ordinary day could not make. We can measure it now. Shared ritual genuinely binds people, sinks them, deepens the trust between them. The smoke was not a weakness. It was how you built the kind of trust that lets people walk into danger side by side and come home together. And then, slowly, that meaning was taken apart. What had taken thousands of years to become sacred, the modern world turned into a product in a few short centuries. The same smoke a healer once offered to the dead became something engineered under bright factory lights to hook a child and to outlast its maker's conscience. One plant, a shaman at one end of human history, and a man signing marketing papers at the other. Almost nothing connects them now except the smoke. So, when did humans first breathe smoke on purpose? The honest answer is that we will never know. The fire is 1,000,000 years old, and the hunger underneath the smoke, to change what we feel, to share it, to carry it to our dead. May be older than any tool we have ever lifted from the ground. It may be as old as the first mind that looked at a burning plant and thought, "Last time I felt different." Let me feel that again. That is not weakness. That is the same spark that built everything else we are. The plants changed, the rituals changed, the reasons changed, but by the time anyone, anywhere, first cut a word into stone, the smoke was already ancient. And it still reaches you. Tonight, somewhere, someone will lean toward a fire and breathe in without thinking. The same air, the same smoke, the same quiet pull a stranger felt 50,000 years ago and could never explain. Across everything that stands between you and them, that single thread has never once been cut. You are still breathing it. If these are the stories you want to keep being told, the small human things we have always done, then stay a while. There are more of them here.